I'd be like solving murders that I'm committing myself. He's holding the knife with a bloody thing. You get the girl who's basically like the ghost of the person that...
Hearing those haunting words today, it feels as if David had been hinting at Celeste's destiny from the very start. Now, with mourners filling the chapel in February 2025, David's music video for One More Dance literally depicted him dragging a lifeless, bloodied body and shoving it into a car trunk. The exact same way Celeste's remains would be uncovered inside the front compartment of his Tesla just 7 months later. He cast himself as both the predator and the prey in that eerie production. Call it art, call it madness, but in hindsight, it was chillingly prophetic. And it doesn't stop there. During his Withered World tour in 2025, David doubled down on the theatrics, rolling actual coffins onto the stage, urging fans to write farewell letters to the dead, and transforming concerts into grim mock funerals. All this while Celeste may have...
Now on to some truly creepy developments in the mysterious case of Celeste Rivas, the teenager whose dismembered body was found in the trunk of singer David's Tesla. Back in February, David released a music video for his song One More Dance. In it, he's seen covered in blood, dragging a body across the ground. He then dumps that body in, you guessed it, the trunk of a car. In light of the circumstances, the parallel is a disturbing coincidence, raising some eyebrows.
Back in 2022, David openly talked about inventing a sinister persona he named Tommy, an evil alter ego who carried out murders that his detective self would later have to solve. His exact words? That he'd be solving murders I'm committing myself. Hearing that now, with everything we know, it lands in a whole new light. That wasn't creative flair. That wasn't just dark storytelling.
People are also finding this disturbing that he tours with a casket.
Disguised
he brings
as art,
a casket
buried
with
under
him on
layers
tour,
of performance.
Which artists do some creepy, weird shit like this all the time. Like, I'm Suicide Boys fans, they do weird shit. But, oh man, with the context of all this is very, very, very bad.
What really sent the community into outrage was discovering just how far this twisted operation reached. The Hollywood Hills mansion, where Celeste was once found hiding out during one of her runaways, wasn't even under David's name. It was leased by his manager, Josh Marshall, through Intercope Records. But the moment federal agents stormed the property, Marshall abruptly canceled that staggering $20,000 a month lease and vanished. That move raised more than a few eyebrows. Nobody walks away from a house burning that much cash unless there's something heavy, something dangerous. They're desperate to cover up.
First music video introduced a character that I had been kind of ideating for a really long time. That's why you see him with the blindfold and the bloody shirt aesthetic and the bow tie. I'm really big into anime and I'm really big into manga. And I wanted to make my own manga series at one point, and I was writing a lot of poems and writing a lot of things for it. And a big part of that manga was an evil version of me named Tommy, which means pain in Japanese. And he wears his blindfold, and he's basically an agent of chaos and kind of my alter ego. And the story of the manga went like I was a detective, and there was an evil version of myself that would kind of come out at random moments, and he would commit the crimes that I would have to solve as a detective. I'd be like solving murders that I'm committing myself.
The internet exploded the moment this story hit. Social feeds turned into war zones as self-proclaimed detectives, from city streets to quiet suburbs, started digging through receipts, dissecting evidence, and running their own investigations. The hashtag movement swept across every platform, racking up more than 2 million mentions in days. But this wasn't just sympathy or condolences anymore.
David even claims
the crowd
that he and the deleted user have a kid on the way back in July of 2024, which people obviously speculate could be the very reason that she ended up losing her life.
The reaction from David's fan base showed how divided people really were. You had some fans, some people cut ties instantly, calling for boycotts, while others took a darker route, straight-up victim blaming, claiming Celeste brought it on herself with fake IDs. That mindset is exactly why vulnerable girls from tough backgrounds rarely get the protection they deserve. Instead of holding the grown man accountable, They twisted the narrative to blame a child who was clearly being controlled and exploited. Through it all, David kept dead silent. His final social media post was on September 5th, 2025, just 3 days before Celeste's body was discovered. Maybe his legal team told him to shut it down, but to the public, that silence looked like guilt. On the streets, silence doesn't get respect, especially when a child is gone and you're the prime suspect. Legal analysts tried to explain why no arrest had been made yet, pointing to loopholes. The cause of death was still deferred because of how decomposed Celeste's remains were, making it difficult for prosecutors to pinpoint the exact way she died. But outside the courtroom, nobody needed convincing. Everyone knew what time it was. You don't just accidentally end up dismembered in the trunk of somebody's car.
And it's important to remember, he's presumed innocent, right? And we know, based on past history, there are juries in LA that will entertain absolutely insane defense theories.
The response from David's fan base revealed just how split the world had become. Some cut ties instantly, calling for boycotts, while others sank into victim blaming, arguing that Celeste somehow brought it on herself with fake IDs. That kind of logic is exactly why young girls from broken backgrounds rarely get the protection they deserve. Instead of demanding accountability from the grown man in control, they twisted the blame onto a child who was clearly being manipulated. All the while, David stayed locked in silence. His last social media post came on September 5th, 2025, just 3 days before Celeste's body was discovered. Maybe his legal team urged him to keep quiet, but to the public, that silence reeked of guilt. On the streets, silence isn't respected when a child is gone and you're the prime suspect. Legal experts tried to explain the delay in charges, pointing to technicalities. The cause of death was still deferred due to how badly decomposed Celeste's remains were, making it nearly impossible for prosecutors to confirm the exact way she died. But outside the courtroom, nobody needed further proof. Everyone knew what it meant. You don't just end up dismembered in the trunk of someone's car by accident.
And just yesterday, he was tracked on Fortnite playing several matches of the casual reload game mode on his account. So I don't know, it's like the guy's whole life could be at stake and he's out here just running Fortnite, like living freely. I mean, something about that just sits so wrong.
The evidence doesn't just point to crimes, it paints the portrait of a man scripting his own darkness in real time. David wasn't only committing acts of violence, he was documenting them, carefully maintaining the mask of a tortured genius, hiding the reality of a predator. He clung to the image of innocence while a child's family was left shattered in grief. This case ripped the curtain back on how the entertainment machine shields monsters when money is on the line, and how girls from certain backgrounds rarely receive the same protection as others. What surfaced was only the beginning of a rabbit hole that went far deeper than anyone imagined. The digital trail told the real story. When federal investigators began tearing through David's online footprint, they uncovered a cold, systematic operation that had been running for years, targeting Celeste when she was still a child. The data laid out a disturbing pattern of calculated grooming that stretched back to when Celeste was barely out of elementary school, a chilling reminder of how predators move in the digital age when they think no one is watching. The breakthrough came on September 17, 2025, when LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division hit that Hollywood Hills mansion with a search warrant. This wasn't some routine house call. They rolled deep with more than 20 detectives and forensic specialists, spending 6 to 8 hours tearing the place apart like they were digging for Jimmy Hoffa himself.
That if whatever happened to Celeste, if she met her demise in the house, they wanted to see if there was any evidence of blood anywhere in the home. So they were using luminol around the house. They were checking drains to see if there's any blood evidence or blood or tissue that was in the.
The search warrant pulled no punches. It covered everything from digital devices to potential biological evidence. Investigators hauled out an arsenal of electronics, computers, laptops, phones, hard drives, and even David's PlayStation 5, the same console he once used for Twitch streams where he allegedly first connected with Celeste. Forensics then swept the house with luminol, lighting up drains, floors, and hidden corners,
looks like in my opinion,
hunting for traces of blood that could reveal exactly where the murder unfolded.
Brought up, bro, and she says something about what's controversial about our wording.
The digital evidence they pulled was damning beyond belief. Screenshots from Discord allegedly traced David's conversations with Celeste all the way back to 2022, when she was still just a kid.s, just 12 years old, and he was 17. This wasn't some random encounter. This was the beginning of a long-term grooming operation that followed the classic Predator playbook. The pattern was textbook. Older guy with some clout slides into a young girl's DMs, makes her feel special and mature, then slowly escalates the relationship while isolating her from her support system. David used his growing fame and musical talent as bait, making Celeste feel like she was part of something.
There's no solid evidence or confirmation that that's true. Like, this could just be him meeting a fan.
One of the most incriminating pieces of evidence came in the form of a leaked track, an unfinished demo titled Celeste that had been circulating since December 2023. The song's lyrics were disturbingly explicit, crossing lines no one could ignore, and directly referencing someone named Celeste.
Right index finger that said the letters SHHH ... and that was on her right index finger. Yes, he had the same one at least as of last September.
One of the most damning pieces of evidence was a leaked, unfinished demo called Celeste that had been circulating since December 2023. The track carried disturbingly inappropriate lyrics that pointed directly to someone named Celeste, making it impossible to brush off as coincidence.
Here's more context to that clip. Media trained you. Media trained you is what he just said, because she just said something about Jeffrey Epstein.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of kids.
They mute the mic.
Really good.
Okay,
it's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my. Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes. Everything goes. Everything.
Those matching tattoos carried a disturbing weight because Celeste was only 14 when she got hers. Under California law, minors can't get inked without parental consent. So how did it happen without her family's knowledge? That tattoo wasn't just body art. It symbolized a forced bond, the kind of commitment predators use to make victims feel special, tied, and dependent. Investigators later revealed that Celeste's pattern of running away was no coincidence. Each disappearance was directly linked to her relationship with David. Her first vanishing act in February 2024 led police straight to the Hollywood Hills mansion where David was staying. Instead of treating it as a glaring red flag of grooming, authorities dismissed it as just another runaway case and sent her home. Neighbors from that Hollywood Hills property gave testimony that became crucial. Multiple witnesses described seeing David and Celeste together often, behaving like a couple. Many assumed she was 18 or 19 based on her appearance and demeanor. They saw them grocery shopping, holding hands, and moving comfortably as if their relationship was normal, a deception so convincing it fooled those around them. One of the most chilling pieces of evidence came from a February 2024 Twitch stream. Though quickly deleted, viewers saved a copy. In it, a young female voice, believed by investigators to be Celeste, made unsettling remarks about inappropriate topics. Almost immediately, David ordered his moderators to wipe the evidence.
And I'm like, the hedges always smell like something decomposing, and there's a lot of rats around in here, but there was always a smell. There was always a smell.
The sophistication of this operation proved David wasn't just some random predator. He had built a calculated system for targeting vulnerable youth through his sad boy persona. His music and online image were crafted to lure kids who felt isolated and misunderstood, creating a steady pipeline of potential victims desperate for connection and validation. Then came the discovery that sent shockwaves worldwide. On September 8, 2025, what started as an ordinary Monday at a Hollywood tow yard turned into one of the most disturbing finds the music industry and the streets had seen in years. Workers at Hollywood Tow were simply doing their jobs when they stumbled upon evidence of a tragedy that had been festering for over a year, involving a young girl whose death had been concealed in one of the sickest, most twisted ways imaginable. The car at the center of the nightmare, a black 2023 Tesla Model X with Texas plates, was registered to David Anthony Burke, the 20-year-old R&B star better known simply as David. He had blown up on TikTok and gone viral when his track Romantic Homicide crossed over 1 billion streams on Spotify. From producing beats in a Houston bedroom to selling out venues nationwide, his rise was meteoric. But inside the front trunk of that Tesla, the tow yard workers uncovered something horrific: the severely decomposed, dismembered remains of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Her body had been wrapped in plastic, and reports confirmed the remains weren't intact.
They found her in the trunk
Authorities
of
made it clear
someone
had chopped her up in a calculated attempt to conceal the evidence.
On her finger. They both had the same finger tattoo.
The connections between Celeste and David started surfacing immediately after the discovery. Celeste's mother told TMZ that her daughter had once mentioned she was dating someone named David, but she never met him in person. The tattoos were one connection, but the most damaging evidence was hidden in plain sight: David's own music. That leaked track, Celeste Demo Unfin, had been circulating since December 2023, carrying lyrics that were intimate, obsessive, and deep 13 years old. The industry's reaction was swift but strategic. Intercope Records pulled all promotion of David's album, scrapped marketing campaigns, and tried to distance themselves. Major brands, Crocs, Hollister, and others, immediately severed partnerships. But the speed of those decisions raised a chilling question. Had insiders already known something was off long before the public did? Even the Tesla told its own story of concealment.
The only thing out was an out-of-state license plate, and it was banged up and kept moving from one place to other place within a couple of blocks from here.
The car, which has Texas plates, is registered to the singer David, who is from Texas.
Only the Tesla had been spotted just a block and a half from a Hollywood Hills rental leased under Josh Marshall's name, David's manager at Intercope Records. That luxury property, costing nearly $20,000 a month, quickly became the focus of investigators trying to determine where the murder actually took place. But the condition of Celeste's remains made things brutally complicated. The LA County Medical Examiner's Office was forced to defer both cause and manner of death while waiting on toxicology. Legal Gap explained why no immediate arrest followed, even as circumstantial evidence kept stacking up. For Celeste's hometown of Lake Elsinore, the discovery brought both closure and unbearable grief. After months of searching, her family finally had answers, only they were the worst possible answers. A family-run GoFundMe raised over $50,000 for funeral expenses, showing how deeply the community cared.